All right, here we are. I am so happy to be here today. Hey friends, welcome back to the Think and Create show. I'm your host Ganzang, and I'm so happy you're here with me today and decided to show up for yourself. You are doing great and amazing, and I just wanted to let you know that. Today's episode will be talking about support systems, which consists of the things that drive our lives and how we can tweak it so it aligns and helps us achieve what we really need and want from life. Wherever you are, get comfy, get present, and let's get into it. I realized recently that the more we live, the more we either get more connected or distant from our needs and wants. But after 2 years of quarantine and isolation, we probably have connected to ourselves in so many different ways, and we probably know what we need in our lives in order to thrive. We know what we need in order to optimize ourselves so we can show up in our best ways. And this all ties into the things that we do every single day. Looking out in a far out picture of our lives, we don't live what we envision. We live what's in our current and proximate reality, and the things we indulge in and put energy towards every day make up the reality we live. I came across this idea earlier this week that says reality is just a reflection of what we really think and feel on the inside. And the more that I think about this, the more I think it's true. Being more connected to myself, my thoughts and feelings make me aware of what I really need in my life. And being the person in control of my life, I have the power to give myself the things I need in order to live and show up my best every single day. We give ourselves these things through support systems in a balanced or unbalanced way. Ultimately, balancing ourselves and life is a way to live more freely and grounded. And in this episode, we'll become more aware of our support systems we have and how it really affects us. Just like the first episode idea about the idea of self connection that we have with ourselves, support systems is based on giving ourselves what we really need by listening within ourselves. Support systems can come in many different forms and many different ways. It can come through the habits and things that we choose to do for ourselves that come from a place of self love. It can come from choosing not to do things, and so many other different ways we can choose to give ourselves what we need. But usually, when we think about support systems, we think about family, friends, connections, and relationships that are important in our lives. Having people who can support you and give you love and happiness can really uplift us. They can give us good energy, and it's really a big part of support systems in our daily lives. There's importance in building and keeping healthy relationships, but also knowing which ones don't really serve you. This comes through with time, reflection, and intuition, and I believe we all know what's best for ourselves. Today's episode is centered upon building the things we need for ourselves, but in another episode, we'll talk about cutting off and moving away from things that we don't really need in our lives. But the most important person to develop a support system with is yourself. Because as much as we can look without outside of us to get some things that we need to also be our own biggest supporter. We need to be there for ourselves when we truly need us the most. And that's when we start to cultivate the relationship with ourselves. The relationship we have with ourselves is the most important one that will stick with us until we die. So you better start loving yourself because it's going to be a long journey. But wherever you are in the world, you have the choice to choose love. You have so much unlimited power of choice of what you can decide to do with your life. You might be distracted and caught up in these other trains of thoughts, but when you can center yourself in the present with self love and self worth, you can connect to this thing that tells you what's best for you. You can start seeing and balancing areas in your life that's affecting you, either positively or negatively, and you can make the changes and intention needed in order to be the best you. Another big thing that takes a big chunk of our support systems that I mentioned earlier is the habits that we do every day. When we think about support systems, we think about systems, right? Systems are things that we repeatedly do or we do in some kind of way. And habits are just like that, things that we do again and again. So, are you aware of the habits that you do? To be very front on and succinct, are you aware of the negative bad habits you don't really want to do, but yet you are so compelled to do? These things happen because you've been brought up and developed and you live it. But are you aware of these things and how they're really affecting you? On the flip side, are you aware of the positive, good, healthy habits that you do for yourself? things that give you energy, give you life, fulfillment. You do this out of a place of self-love. Now, I don't know where you are in life with your habits, mindsets, and thinking, all these things that play into support systems and how they affect your lives because it's all individual and personal. But what I can say is that if you're aware of all these things that you indulge in, that you put energy into, you can start to change it. You can start to change what you are aware of. And when you become aware of the habits, the things, the support system you have for yourself, you can start implementing more of the things that you need and start cutting off and letting go of the things you don't necessarily need. So let's talk about our needs for a bit. As humans, we need and desire a lot from life, especially me. I'm very ambitious and I've been like this ever since I was in middle school. I'll always have the vision to do things and get the stuff I want done, but I was never really balanced with it. I was going about things ungroundedly because I was young, but I learned from it. I learned that the most important thing I need for myself is balance with the things I need and want in life. When we can define what we physically need, mentally need, emotionally need, and what our soul really needs, we can see what we need to give ourselves. I'm just going to say we can't ignore what our bodies are telling us what we need. Even if we are so focused on getting something, attaining a goal, reaching a goal, a milestone, we still have to give ourselves room and space to rest and recoup ourselves, to rest and get ourselves right in all these different areas in our lives. Because if we aren't balanced, then one area might be affecting more of your life than you really intend to. And I believe intention is the key here. How do you intend to let your support system affect you? How do you intend your habits to really manifest and make up who you are? We can think about what we need mentally, emotionally, and so many different layers of ourselves, and we can tie it back to how our support systems fulfill our needs and wants. The best way for me to keep track of everything I do for myself, both healthy things and the things I want to move on from, is writing in my journal. I started writing since August of 2020, and I filled about 8 journals so far. I know, it's a lot, and I'm surprised too. I do love to write, and it kind of makes sense about it kind of makes sense I have so many journals filled up. And looking back on those pages, looking back at all those entries I've written down, I saw the things I was so consumed in, all the things that I was invested in doing every day, and I got a ton of insight of how much I grew and changed. We are constantly changing. We are creatures of change, and it gives me so much power when I remember the challenges and things I overcame. Writing in my journal every day is a big part of my own support system. If you haven't started a journal already, I really, really highly recommend everyone listening to start a journal. It doesn't even have to be nice. It can be a plain subject notebook from school, but the most important part of keeping one is your connection with it and having a place where you can keep all the thoughts to yourself, where it's so special and dedicated to just you. It's not necessary to incorporate a journal in your life, but it's truly fulfilling. Since I started journaling, it's improved my life so immensely, and in so many ways, I can go on and on about all the wonderful, amazing benefits and things journaling can give us, but I'll probably save that for maybe a YouTube video. The thing is, by tracking all the healthy, good choices that we make for ourselves, we can see all the challenges and things we overcame and how. We can see all these decisions we made that's more aligned to what we really want and need in our lives. Keeping track of how you're supporting yourself and your support system, how that's operating for you, is a great way to gain insight in how you want to change in order to be where you want to be and to think and create the life you want to live. So this wraps up the main portion of this episode. I feel really, really great about this. I feel like all my writing, my journals really, paid off in the end because now I'm writing the scripts for these episodes and I feel so amazing about it. All right, so wrapping it up all now. I hope you enjoy this and now we're going to move on to the think and create portion of the podcast. At the end of each episode, I'm going to give you two actionable takeaways, one thing to think about and one thing to create. So, the thing I want you to think about today, I'm going to keep on this train of thought about support systems. So I want you to think about how can we develop and incorporate more of what we need for ourselves. What I need in my life is way different from what you need in your life. And the only thing to give ourselves what we need is to have the connection with ourselves, to listen within and to say, hey, this is what I need, this is what my body needs, and I'm gonna give myself that because I'm worthy of it, I deserve it, and there's no other reason an excuse not to. Of course, I hope you go about giving yourself all the desires you need in a healthy, balanced way, in a way that doesn't really hurt or harm others, and but it still fulfills you. You can take this one to the journal, or you can just ponder and meditate about how you can develop and incorporate more of what you need in your life. For the create portion, it can be tangible things or intangible things. And what this means is like intangible, you can't really physically hold it, you can't really physically see it, but it's within you. Today's create portion, I'm going to have you do both. I want you to start creating and developing a support system for yourself and what you really need. This can come in so many ways, but I believe you know what's best for yourself and your life and situation, so please follow your heart and intuition. Creating a support system is definitely what we need, especially now with my school personally is going through 2 weeks of distance learning, so we definitely need some support and routines that really build us and helps us show up every day to our best. If you want to go further on, I would suggest creating a support system log in your journal. I really do hope we start a journal and keep a journal because this is where all the great things are going to happen. I promise you. It's something that a lot of people have different opinions on, but it's something to try out for yourself if you haven't already. But the main aspect of this create portion is I want you to become aware of the power you have to change the things you need in your life. To change to be what you want it to be and create the support systems you need in order for you to thrive. I believe this was a great way to start off the podcast. I've had a ton of support from all of my friends, my family. You all inspire me and motivate me to share what I learn and all the great things I do because I know it's going to be helpful to those who choose to listen and do those great things for themselves. I'm going to take some time to thank everyone and everything in my life that has supported me. I love you all so much. I'm so happy you showed up today and listened to me, and I want you to keep on showing up for yourselves in your own best way. Thank you again for listening today, and wow, you are amazing. We are amazing. Let's move forward in life with this great positive energy, and I hope to see you in the next episode.